Which Dow 30 company is most likely to go bankrupt within the next decade? I think I have one company picked out that I believe has that true possibility. Hey guys, it's Jeremy from the Financial Education Channel. So today we're going to talk about which Dow 30 company is most likely to go bankrupt within the next 10 years. If you know what the Dow 30 companies are, they're some of the biggest companies in the entire world. They're companies like DuPont, IBM, Walmart, Apple, McDonald's, the biggest of the biggest companies in the entire world, and especially in America. So who of those 30 companies is most likely to go bankrupt in the next decade? First off, pretty much all of them are very unlikely to go bankrupt. It would be very hard to be one of the biggest companies in the world and then be bankrupt a decade later, although it's possible. So, my company I picked out is IBM. IBM has a lot of issues going for them right now. Their revenue over the past 2 years is down 17%. 17% the revenue is down in the last 2 years. From 98 billion they did 2 years ago to this past year, they only did 81 billion in revenue. Their profits have dropped substantially. And this all while they've been cutting costs like crazy, which I think a lot of their cost-cutting initiatives have hurt the company immensely. Starting in around 2011, 2012, they cut costs on salespeople, so the amount of money on commission salespeople could make and whatnot, and that has hurt the company immensely. A person at IBM, a salesperson who used to make around $250,000 to $300,000 a year, next thing you know, their pay jumped down to about $100,000 a year. So we're talking about 50-60% down in their pay because they dropped down on commissions because IBM thought they could just make a lot more profits, cut costs on employees. And what happened is they lost so many employees, so many great salespeople, and IBM needs salespeople more than anybody, and they lost so many of the best ones. You can look it up in their articles about former employees who worked there who just left the company saying, I'm not in this to make $100,000 a year. I wanted to make my $250,000 a year, my $300,000 a year, because that's what I was making before, and we were doing very good. And you look at since that time, profitability has just eroded. It's gone down and down and down. So they cut all those costs. They lost a lot of great employees, and their business is now failing, partially because of that. The other part of why their business is failing currently is they have so much competition from the top and from the bottom. What I mean by that is there are a lot of other big companies like HP and a lot of those guys who are kind of hurting as well. And they're just going to charge very low prices, and they say, screw margin, we just need to get whatever we can for revenue in the door. So they just cut margin and margin, and that hurts IBM because then they have to cut margin and go down to that level. And then on top of that, so you have the big companies doing that, and then you have all these massive amount of startups that have started up within the last 5-6 years that are now growing and growing, and they're taking bits and pieces of IBM's market share away, not all at once, just a little bit here, a little bit here, this cloud, and let's take this and let's take that. So they have from the top and from the bottom, they're just getting sandwiched in between the two. IBM also has $33 billion in long-term debt. $33 billion in long-term debt. That is a massive amount of debt to have for that company. So we shall see how it all plays out. Of all the companies, that's the one I would pick. Do you guys think I'm correct for thinking that, or do you think there's another company that might have a greater likelihood of going bankrupt within the next decade that's in the Dow 30? Please let me know in the comments section. I love to hear what you guys have to say, if you agree, disagree, or if you just like the video in general. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe if this is your first time watching. It's a financial education channel. I talk about so many subjects like this. I know a lot of people want to talk business, and this is the channel to do so and talk about all these different subjects. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.